Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode of the vlogs. We're making it through the week. We're already through hump day. We're into Thursday. On to what will possibly be the hottest day of the year here in England. It is supposed to hit 38 degrees roughly, or even higher than that, maybe even into 39, which is around, for people who use Fahrenheit, it's around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and I think it's like 700% humidity or something along those lines. But today, keeping Yam cool, getting some weights in, getting some erging in, and then some tips about training in the heat. Said a couple of things about that 2 days ago, but today we're going to have a little bit more of a focus on it, since I'm going to have to deploy some of these tips especially during the erg today when it gets really, really hot. So first things first, let's get into the gym. Oh yeah. But before we start doing the weights, we're gonna get Yam a little weigh in. So last time at the vets on last Friday, he was just shy of 10 kilos. So almost a week since then. He has grown about 2 inches. So let's see how big or how much he has been on the gains train. So let's find out with Rich on the scales. Oh yeah! So what?
12 kilos.
He's gained.
And he's got the hiccups.
So Yam has got the hiccups and he's gained about 2 kilos in a week and about 2 inches. Oh, good boy. So that's you're 93.
Yeah.
Or 105. Oh, yeah. The maths is correct. Quick maths. But now it's time. We're going to do weights this morning, and then
Yam's going to do some weights.
Yam's going to get on the curls. Oh yeah. And we've made it into the crew room after Rich and I's little upper body session there, just having a bit of fun before we get into some structure, but also while we're having a bit of fun, making sure we are doing mostly applicable things, and then obviously a little bit of biceps and whatnot, having a bit of fun. But now, as always after the session, having some fuel, some breaded egg toast in my case with some tomato addition. And we're talking today about training in very hot conditions. Obviously, here it isn't that hot compared to, like in Boston in the States, we would train in 40 plus degrees or 100 plus Fahrenheit on like some summer days, but Boston was prepared for those conditions. Like there is no AC here outside of a car. Like barely anyone has like a window unit or like a built into the building sort of AC, or your house. Rarely will there be any sort of AC. So we have
you might get it more in a public gym.
Yeah.
Or
like a new.
Or in a workplace.
Yeah.
But we don't have any here.
Yes. So we barely have any of that. So if you're at work, you may have AC in an office maybe, but definitely not in this building.
You wouldn't have it in your house.
No.
It's not worth it.
So that's why we're saying, like today, training in hot conditions, because so we're training in hot conditions, not just training, it is hot outside, but it's cold inside. So, Rich, when you're training in hot conditions, tips for the YAMSQUAD?
Take the work rate down a little bit, like it's going to be harder anyway, so take it down a little bit, take more breaks, and stay hydrated.
Yes, because like I mentioned before the other day, with your heart rate on just simply on the erg, when you're hotter, your body's going to work harder, it's going to sweat more, so you're going to have to replenish that water, stay hydrated even more so, and with your heart rate going higher, you're working harder, so you're going to burn more as well. and spend more energy. So like taking the breaks to refuel, so say you're on the erg for an hour, splitting it in half when it's really hot to take on a little bit of fuel, or even 3 minutes as well, just to really sort of make sure you're fueled properly, you're hydrated and not sort of faltering too much. But again, keeping your heart rate, checking your perceived level of exertion, and other methods of checking your intensity level can make sure you're on the right path no matter the temperature. But now we're going to fuel up, because remember, food is fuel. And we're finished fueling up. Now it's time to get on the ergo, but first things first, we're going to weigh, or I'm going to weigh myself for another tip when it gets really hot and you sweat a lot. So weigh myself first without the camera. So 98 kilos dead, and then that's without the shoes, without the socks, and then I'll weigh myself after and let you know why after the ergo. So let's get to it.
We need to find something somewhere new. Let's bring this up higher, higher. You will go far, I know you are. Fighter, fighter.
And now, after the workout, it's time to weigh ourselves to see how much weight we have lost, and we'll let you know why after we've weighed ourselves. So it was 98 previously. And I switched my all-in-one to a dry one, so it wasn't full of sweat, because that can weigh 2.5 kilos or so. So 96 kilos, so zoom back out. 2 kilos lost, so that's 2 kilos roughly of water weight, and that means the science is to say to replenish 1.5 times that. So I have to replenish 3 litres of fluid back in my body, which actually means more than 3 litres of water, because when you drink water, some of it goes out and not just directly into your body. So more than 3 litres. But that isn't just going and drinking 3 litres and then going to have food. It is isotonic drinks, so salt, fruit juice and stuff into the water itself. But also you can't just drink a gallon and then hope that you're rehydrated. You have to spread it out across the day. And especially if I was to drink like a litre or 2 litres now, I wouldn't be very hungry to fuel up and feel just I didn't want to eat. So I'm going to keep drinking slowly, but very, very often until I get back up and get back hydrated during fueling up. And then we'll just a little bit of tips on said isotonic drinks while we're fueling up. Oh yeah! Yeah. And we've made it into the crew room to fuel up once more after the session. We'll fuel up and then we'll talk about that isotonic drink. Oh yeah. While we finish fueling up, isotonic drink. So I mentioned before, when you're trying to hydrate, water is good, definitely, obviously, but to improve the uptake of the salts, the minerals, the water itself, and to make your body a bit more hydrated a bit quicker, literally putting some salt, some sugar, and some fruit juice in the water, not fruit juice, some squash or diluting juice into the water can let your body absorb those nutrients, so the salts that you put in a bit better and make you more hydrated a little bit faster and let your body hold on to the water a little bit better. Rather than if you just drink a litre, it might not absorb that litre, you might expel it or expel a bigger portion of it than if you were doing a sort of isotonic drink. So I've got a little bit of salt in here, a little bit of sugar and some lemon squash. And it's really up to you what flavour you go for, how much salt you use, how much sugar you use, but generally just a little bit so you don't need to really taste it, and then putting the squash in sort of counteracts the taste of the salt and sugar, and then that means you just are able to absorb it a little bit better, which is really important when you're losing multiple kilos in sweat throughout the day. I'll be losing, so on that hour erg, or 45 minutes on the erg, that was 2 kilos I lost. So I'll need to drink 3 kilos of fluid to get that back up, and then that's only for that 45 minutes. Like I'm sweating right now, so I'm losing fluid. I sweated in the gym this morning, so I'm losing fluid. So overall during the day, I might have to end up drinking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5,500 litres to make sure I'm properly hydrated throughout the day. And obviously the negatives with being dehydrated, sore head, being lethargic, not feeling like you've got that energy that you could have when you're hydrated. So hydration is really, really important, especially when you're training multiple times a day. But when it is this hot, it can be quite difficult to maintain a high level of hydration without just literally constantly drinking. So every second of every day you have a bottle, or you have a jug, or you have something to keep just yourself hydrated. But that will be it for today's episode. Ollie, do you have any tips for the YAMSQUAD for hot day rowing or training?
I'd just be careful, not be careful, but think about the isotonics that you use. Like sometimes if you don't have a lot of high sugary things in your diet, it can be a bit like, ooh, that's like quite a lot of sugar and quite a lot of salt. So maybe sometimes watering it down, like a Lucid or something like that, watered down is sometimes a bit better.
So like
get a fan.
And get a fan. That's what we mentioned earlier about not having AC in pretty much the UK. But so get a fan, really good. We have one here while we're watching TV. But like Ollie said, sometimes with isotonic drinks off the shelf, whatever that is, so like Lucozade, Gatorade, Powerade, any of those can be quite strong, and really you could just have, say, one bottle, split it up into 2 bottles and then fill it up into water. But obviously that depends on your needs. I'm not saying you should do that. Maybe you do need the full strength isotonic drink. Depends how much you sweat, depends how much you're training. Speak to your coach to see what you should really do for that. But again, it is sort of all individual, as everything seems to be in this last sort of off-season vlogs, talking about people as individuals and figuring it out for each one of the YAMSQUAD. Oh yeah. But that will be it for today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. A little bit of off-season training, a little bit of tips as we go through the hottest day of the year, and it is confirmed that this is not only the hottest day of the year, but the hottest day ever recorded. I think it hit 39, which is 101, maybe 102, above 100 Fahrenheit anyway, here in the UK, which is ridiculous. And I know some of you watching deal with 100 Fahrenheit on the regular, but here in the UK, that's like the roads are melting, tires are falling off cars. Like it is actually like the country is not prepared for heat such as this. But maybe as things keep getting warmer, then we might have to accept that we will need to get more prepared for this type of weather. But that's a whole nother type of conversation. And as always, YAMSQUAD, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I will see you. What day is this? Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.